Thank you very much, and thanks so much for inviting me. I'm absolutely delighted to be speaking at this really interesting and timely conference. Having said that, I do feel like a little bit of an imposter because RHS gardens are not actually botanical gardens, but we do exist to promote the science, arts, and practice of horticulture. So not too far removed, and we are all shooting for the same goal. So today I'm going to look at the difference that public botanical and heritage gardens can make to the modern world and how we're looking to support that through education and skills. Next year, the RHS is going to have been offering education for 200 years, which we think is quite incredible, but actually the Oxford Botanical Garden makes us look like a relative newbie. And it's one of the only gardens that can do that. 400 years is astonishingly impressive. So the RHS started with trainees at its own garden in Chiswick in London in 1822. Our offer has significantly grown since then, as you can imagine. But what are we aiming towards now in our horticultural education at the Royal Horticultural Society, and also why? So these are our current goals. We are aiming for 3 particular goals: environment and sustainability, skills and knowledge, and well-being. And together, we hope that they create a package which is useful for everyone and interesting as well. So we hope that in environment and sustainability, that we can support people to support the environment and to grow sustainably, and that they also become positive advocates for sustainability. So they're spreading that word as well. You may have seen recently our new sustainability strategy, which is based around making ourselves and the way we work at the RHS more sustainable, but actually seeing what we can do to spread the word of that current amazing research which is happening in horticulture, and to hopefully support and encourage people to garden more sustainably as well. There are 27 million gardeners in the UK, and if we can all do that, our bit for the environment, it's going to make such a difference. Skills and knowledge. So we know there's a poor perception of the horticultural industry within people coming into the industry. We want more people to choose horticulture as a career, and so we're really trying to overturn that poor perception and make that more positive. We also want to develop horticultural skills, so that's with people coming into the industry and people who are developing their career. And well-being as well. So we know post-COVID that horticulture is amazing for our well-being. We want people to be connected to nature and to each other, and to support places to be greener, supporting the mental and physical well-being of the UK. So today, I am going to talk mostly about skills and how that supports the horticulture industry as a whole, and lots around that is about the economics of the ornamental and environmental horticultural sector. So up until recently, we really had no idea of how big the industry was. No one had ever really done a study on it before. We didn't know what sort of player we were in the jobs market. So we did some research through the Ornamental Horticulture Roundtable Group in 2017 and 2018. And we found out, which was so surprising, that horticulture was worth £24.2 billion to the UK economy each year. That is absolutely phenomenal. As a comparison, the fisheries industry, which we're all very worried about post-Brexit, is worth 1.6 billion to the UK economy. That's obviously really important, but I think that just gives us an idea of how big a player horticulture is. It also supports 1.6% of all UK jobs, which is an absolutely phenomenal amount. So on this chart here, public botanical and heritage gardens are represented under the tourism bracket. That's the grey one on the left. So that supports 32,000 jobs in the UK every year, and garden tourism is worth 2.9 billion to the UK economy, which is really significant. Also, parks and gardens are the most popular activity for international tourists to the UK. So what does that mean for skills? It means that we think that we can grow the horticultural industry up to above 40 billion by 2030. But that requires skills, requires more skills, more knowledge, and more people coming into the industry. And if that many people are visiting our gardens, which they obviously are, we can also, that's such an opportunity for us to spread those messages around sustainability and well-being as well. So we never really knew much about the skills gap either. We've been talking about in horticulture since I first came into horticulture 13 years ago. We were talking about that there was a skills crisis, but no one ever seemed to know kind of where it was or what we should do about it. So we did some research in 2019 to see where that skills gap was and what we could do about it. We found, after surveying 1,000 businesses within the ornamental and environmental horticultural sector, that there was a lack of interest in the sector, that there was a lack of suitable applicants, that once they got to us, there was a lack of appropriate and available training, and that businesses did not know about current training offers or where to find them. So if you can find for me a more damning list of barriers to skills, I'm not sure what it would be or what we would add to that, but it's not great. So hopefully we can help to overturn that. The business has also told us about roles which they found difficult to fill. So they said that they found skilled trades, professional and technical roles, and supervisor roles difficult to fill. So essentially, that told us that that's mostly roles which are people are horticulturally trained, so they have a horticultural qualification. But also, it's not just people entering the industry, it's that continuing professional development when people are in the industry and are hoping to develop those skills. And the skills that those businesses required were, as we could have probably predicted, environmental skills and sustainability skills. So that's going much more to the fore, and that links back to our other objectives. Biosecurity, because we know that's a real problem with new pests and diseases coming in. Our plant knowledge, soft skills, use of machinery and equipment, and very much increasingly so, soil science. So the businesses said to us that about 14% of these roles had been open for 3 years, and they expected the skills requirement to go up by 23% within the next 2 years, which is going to leave quite a significant skills gap. So just to give you a brief overview of what we offer at the RHS, on the left of this diagram is kind of our engagement activity, and that moves through up to our higher level education. So just to pick out a couple of things for you, the campaign for school gardening on the left and educational visits to gardens, how we introduce horticulture into schools, essentially. So we hope to interest young people at a young age, because we know that young people, whilst they might not make their careers decisions until they're maybe in years 8, 9, 10, they're discounting careers from age 5 to 9, essentially. So we really need to be in there from a young age, getting people to know just how relevant horticulture is to their modern lives and how many opportunities there are within that as well for whatever they want to do within their careers. We'll talk about the transition part in a second, but on the formal learning end, we have RHS Qualifications. So we're an awarding organisation, and we have about 80 approved centres around the country who offer RHS qualifications at levels 1, 2, and 3. We also have, we run RHS Apprenticeships at our gardens at levels 2 and 3. That's about GCSE and A level. We have School of Horticulture programmes, which are students in our gardens at levels 3 and 4. So that's A level to first year of a degree. And then we have the RHS Master of Horticulture as a continuing professional development programme for people who've been in the industry about 4 years or above in a supervisory role, so they can really increase their supervisory skills. We also then have PhD level programmes, and our science teams work with universities around the country to be able to offer that research with our RHS experts in association with the universities, and then the learning that they do and that they create on sustainability and well-being and all of those other really valuable pieces of knowledge can then be ploughed straight back into our education systems. So we're sharing all of that knowledge throughout this pipeline. So just to talk a little bit more about that pipeline, we've got the educational visits to gardens and campaign for school gardening, and our short courses and workshops as well, and teacher training. That's all brilliant, and they're engagement programs, and we have lots of people involved with those every year. So, for example, 45,000 young people come to our gardens every year to learn about horticulture. But then how do we get them into our formal qualifications after that? That's the real question, the real struggle that we have. How do we convince people when they've had an amazing experience in our gardens or in their schools? And I think we all probably have this problem that actually horticulture is a brilliant career for them, whether they're creative, whether they're scientific, whether they're interested in working with their hands or in research or whatever it is. How can we get them in there? So we are looking at that transition period at the minute, looking at how we can provide better careers advice, looking at how we can provide better work experience opportunities for people to have a taster of the horticultural industry, so they're not committing, but just encouraging people and removing those barriers to coming into horticulture as a career. We also do influence and advocacy. So I mentioned earlier the Ornamental Horticulture Roundtable group. So the RHS currently chairs that. It's a group of influential organisations within ornamental and environmental horticulture, which is essentially a government based support group, so that we can get together, lobby for what the change we need to see at government. And all the research that I've spoken about today has come through the Ornamental Horticulture Roundtable group, and that is making a difference. We've also contributed to the development of new government-led qualifications and learning programs. So essentially, at the minute, down the vocational route, they're looking at apprenticeships and T levels. Apprenticeships, I think you probably all know, are employer-led. So apprentices are employees of the horticultural industry in a particular business, and they spend 20% of their time off the job learning at college or at a training provider. So they get the knowledge portion of their learning. A T level or a technical level is essentially the other way around. So they will spend a couple of years at college with a portion out at a business, out at an employer, of work experience for about 3 months. The first horticultural T level is coming online in 2023. So we all really need to be aware of that, ready for it. There hopefully will be people coming through wanting to do work experience in our businesses and really helping themselves to make that transition into horticulture a career. Now, we really support the apprentices and T levels. They're great programs. We've been involved in their development, but they are really broad. So they're designed to give people an introduction into the horticulture and landscape industry at the same time, so they can make a decision as to where they go. We think that our very specific qualifications in horticulture, and qualifications, for example, for career changers who might not be able to commit to an apprenticeship or T level full time, we know career changes are a big market for us in horticulture, are really important. So we're continuing to develop our RHS qualifications. And we also support in other things like, for example, the new OCR GCSE in natural history, which we're supporting with. So development and challenges. Obviously, we're looking at sustainability now, and we're looking at how we can embed all of those sustainability goals throughout all of our education programs and share that knowledge more widely with people. We're looking at inclusion and diversity. We know we're not the most diverse industry in horticulture, but imagine if we can get all of those skills by becoming more diverse as an industry, and all of those new skills that we could welcome into the industry. So we're really working on that through careers pipelines and seeing how we can get people from that engagement stage and working with community groups who are doing awesome work and encourage new people and new skills into the industry to support us. So I think that's a whistle-stop tour through it, and the solutions to the horticultural skills gap, they're not simple, they're not short-term, but neither are they insurmountable. All of us on this call, we're all passionate about it. By looking outwards, really harvesting and harnessing the amazing skills and enthusiasm that we've got, there is absolutely no reason why we shouldn't build an even larger and a more effective horticultural industry for the future. Thank you.